Balancing our needs with our dog's needs is imperative, but also challenging. As caregivers to dogs with complex behavior needs, we often have to shrink their worlds down to be very small so that they can feel safe. It's super easy then for our worlds to become very small. And many times, this is not sustainable in the long run. Now, when we're doing management with behavior therapy, part of our hope is that as we go along, our management can decrease. As our dog is better able to accurately identify both threat and safety, as they're better able to self regulate, as we see increased curiosity and problem solving and pro social behavior, their world gets bigger. And ideally, as that is true, if we've made our worlds smaller, our worlds can open back up again as well. We're able to have visitors over. We're able to find walks that enrich us both. We're able to hire pet sitters or dog walkers. We're able to leave our dog home alone. Conflict within the family decreases. Our nervous systems aren't as activated and fried. But sometimes that shift doesn't happen evenly, and perhaps the dog is making really beautiful progress, but it doesn't necessarily move the needle for our quality of life in the same way. Part of good behavior therapy for our dogs is looking at the human needs as well. And we might say, okay, this management is sustainable up until this point, and then we need to check back in. Perhaps because the human's quality of life is too low or too restricted. Sometimes this then shows up as contempt or resentment for our dogs. We may not like our dog very much anymore. We may lose the joy in our relationship and lose sight of why we're even doing this. Our emotional cups might drain so far that we no longer have the ability to keep going in the behavior therapy work. So we shift into just management mode, a management mode that is not sustainable for our quality of life, but unable to make any further progress. A friend of mine recently said, "How do you dig yourself out of a hole when you lost your shovel a long time ago?" And I think that really applies to this type of situation. When I have cases like this, a big part of the work we're doing is helping to meet the human's enrichment needs within the management that their dog needs. That is going to make our work more sustainable. And it's also going to allow us to show up for our dogs in the way that they need us to as safe people. And this is not something that we can do in isolation. We need social support. We need emotional support. We need mental health support. We need to have our basic needs met and really our enrichment needs. And that can be hard to come by. Doing the best we can to find that balance can be an incredibly important part of behavior work, to the end that the human's quality of life is one of the considerations when we decide if continuing with behavior therapy is sustainable. Along with risk assessment, it's like the big other thing. And a lot of times we'll talk about quality of life for the dog, but quality of life for the other members of the family, human and non-human, is also a very important consideration. I think it can be helpful to remember when we are working to meet our own needs and then perhaps feel guilty for doing that, that actually taking care of ourselves in that way and allowing ourselves to be taken care of by others in that way is also benefiting our dog.